Geometry Dash World was released on December 21st, 2016 by RobTop Games AB as a free version of Geometry Dash in addition to Geometry Dash Lite and Geometry Dash Meltdown. It was surprising that this game was released because 2.1 had not been released yet, something RobTop had been working on for a long time, and then he suddenly just drops this new free game in December. At the time of its release, the community was super excited. There was all this new content, new levels, new everything. And it was exciting to finally get some new content after Update 2.0 and Update 2.01, updates that were released over a year before Geometry Dash World was released. Then, on January 16th, 2017, Update 2.1 for the full version of Geometry Dash gets released. The community was arguably more excited for 2.1 than Geometry Dash World. But I've been asking myself ever since 2.1 has come out if we should have been. Today I have collected evidence from Geometry Dash World and Update 2.1, as well as certain speculations I have, and I have a theory about what it would have been like if Geometry Dash World had come out after 2.1. To start off, we need to take a look at Geometry Dash World and what it offered to the Geometry Dash community. RobTop released it claiming that it was a new adventure in the world of Geometry Dash. At the time, this could not have been more correct. Geometry Dash World had 10 new levels, 5 in 2 new worlds. These levels had their respective achievements of colors and icons. Features such as the shop were added, hourly and daily chests with rewards of new materials like mana orbs and diamonds, as well as shards of power. Getting enough diamonds could take you into the Keymaster, where you can type in codes to get rewards. Getting 200 diamonds unlocked a secret level called the Challenge. Getting 5 demon keys would open up the treasure room, and getting 500 diamonds would unlock Scratch's shop, where even more stuff could be bought. So, does any of this stuff sound familiar? That's because it is very familiar. All of the stuff I just mentioned, besides the 10 new levels and their achievements, were features added in Update 2.1 for Geometry Dash. If Geometry Dash World and 2.1 were to be compared in chronological order, all of the stuff I just mentioned were released in Geometry Dash World. Since Update 2.1 had all of that same stuff, it can all be cancelled out as part of the update if we look at it this way. Taking a look at the 2.1 changelog, we can already cross out most of this list. Firstly, we can cross out Spider Game Mode, because Spider can be used in some online levels, as well as the challenge in Geometry Dash World. We can cross out gameplay objects for the same reason. New rewards can be crossed out because the same rewards could be obtained in Geometry Dash World prior to 2.1. Same with quests and daily levels. Most 2.1 art is from Geometry Dash World, besides art for the Gauntlets, Hall of Fame, etc., so that can be crossed out. I'm going to guess bug fixes also applies to Geometry Dash World, so we can cross that out. Okay, so we've narrowed down the update to these things which truly are new to 2.1. Finger Dash, editor improvements. I kept secrets because of the Chamber of Time being new in 2.1, but every other secret was in GD World. And as for more, that would be things like Hall of Fame, new demon ratings, gauntlets, as well as a few other miscellaneous things. Because of Geometry Dash World, 2.1 now looks like a really small update. And this is only because the community had seen most of this stuff just a few weeks prior in Geometry Dash World. The reason why 2.1 looks so small now is simply because GD World came first. I personally was disappointed with 2.1. Sure, Finger Dash was fun for like 5 minutes, the Chamber of Time was kind of cool with new lore and unlockables, and of course things like the editor and gauntlets have kept the game alive past 2.1's release. But besides that, it was kind of boring. In Geometry Dash World, I practically did everything already before 2.1 came out, so being greeted in 2.1 with a bunch of empty shops and treasure rooms wasn't that exciting. Basically, I had more fun with 2.1 in Geometry Dash World than in 2.1. If that even makes sense. Most of the update was spoiled for me because of Geometry Dash World coming first. And I get why RobTop released Geometry Dash World when he did. He wanted full version users to have a sort of preview of 2.1 before 2.1, and that's kind of a cool idea, except it was almost a full update in one game. It also contained a bunch of 2.1 game files which were exposed and leaked by the community, and so in the end I think RobTop should have tried to be more focused on newer players rather than the already existing community who wanted 2.1. Etzer kind of brings up this similar type of topic in his review of Geometry Dash World, and I highly suggest you guys go check it out if you want to hear more reasons about why Geometry Dash World wasn't executed in the best way. It really extrapolates on what I've just talked about. Alright, so this brings me to my theory, almost 5 minutes into the video. What if Geometry Dash World was released after 2.1? Firstly, hype for Update 2.1 before and throughout the weeks after its release would maintain, with a whole bundle of new content to delve right into. As a byproduct, Geometry Dash World would not be as hyped for, as the only new thing would be the 10 new levels and their achievements. Geometry Dash World would be viewed by the full version community as a boring 2.1 copy, only having 10 short levels and including some features from 2.1, but leaving out a lot. Because of this, I don't think that many full version users would play GD World. They'd complete the new levels and leave. That could be viewed as a bad thing in RobTop's eyes, but I think that's how it should have been at first. I doubt that many full version users play Geometry Dash World anymore, but if it were to have come out after 2.1, the game would really be geared towards newer players of the game. Combined with Geometry Dash Lite and Meltdown, Geometry Dash World would be the icing on the cake for players of the free versions to enjoy the game. They can go from having a taste of the main levels to more advanced levels with newer decoration and Meltdown, and then moving on to a bunch of 2.1 features and online levels in GD World. The only thing they would be missing out on would be all of the main levels, all user levels, and the level editor. And I think that's the best process for a user who is new to the game franchise. You start off with Lite, then Meltdown, then World, and then possibly buying the full version. Because Geometry Dash World came out before 2.1, this process would be kind of flawed. Basically, all the grayed out features would tell the user that it was available in the full version of Geometry Dash, but it was still in 2.0, and so if you were to buy the full version, you wouldn't have any of the features that you were told you would get. So if 2.1 were to have come out before Geometry Dash World, this would have been a seamless transition from GD World to the full version from a new user to the game. Etzer mentions this a bit more in his review, but it's basically the same idea. GD World being released after 2.1 just seems right. As a free game consisting of most 2.1 features, it should solely exist as a way for users without the full version to experience a current update of the full version, just in a more abridged way. I believe RobTop released GD World before 2.1 as a sort of appeasement to the full version community. I feel like he was sort of trying to apologize for 2.1 to take so long to release, and pushed out this new game a month before with most of the same features as in 2.1 to kind of make the community happy until the update dropped. In my opinion, if it's a free version of the game, it should be focused on the free version user to make their experience better, encouraging them to buy the full version, rather than trying to appeal the entire community as a whole. Geometry Dash World shouldn't have been released as an amazing new thing for full version users. It should have been released as something for free version users, disregarding the full version community entirely. If Geometry Dash World came out after 2.1, I believe that would be more of the case. So that's basically it. I think Geometry Dash World coming out after 2.1 would be a better idea to preserve the hype for 2.1 for the full version community, and to help the free version user get more of a hands-on experience with Geometry Dash. When they'd go to buy the game, all the stuff they'd be promised in Geometry Dash World would be right there for them. It's a win-win, or more like a win-win-win. The full version community is happy with a bigger update, which wasn't spoiled for them. The free version users get more levels and more fun in the Geometry Dash franchise, and RobTop may attract new users to buy the full game. And I believe this all would have happened if Geometry Dash World had come out after 2.1. Also, one final thing, I do not hate Update 2.1, I really do like it. I was just saying I kind of got bored with it just because I'd experienced it a lot in GD World before 2.1 actually got released, but it is a good update all in all. I have nothing against it, don't worry. So guys, that is it for this video. Kind of like a GD Theories What Would Happen video. I know it's not as expansive and as amazing as C1997's GD Theories and stuff. I kind of thought I'd give this a try. And if you guys have any conspiracy theory things or theory ideas or whatever, without me copying C in any way, please let me know your thoughts. I'd be really excited to try to do more of these, and I hope you found this video interesting and informative. So subscribe for more, guys, and I have more videos coming soon.